Yo, what's good? It's your man, 100 grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. I gotta tap back in about our boy, Chet Holmgren. This boy has become a monster. I mean, an absolute monster. But for those of y'all who follow my channel, you understand that when he first was coming into his draft 2 years ago, I was not very high on him. In fact, you might have called me a hater, and you might be right to do so. But I don't think I was wrong. I just think the context of how he's entering into the league has changed. I'm going to dive into that in this video. If you enjoyed the video, smash the like button for me, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Let me just start off by saying, look, I believe that there are archetypes for the NBA, meaning that there are kind of similarities that you can kind of look at other players and gauge how they're going to impact the game of basketball. And most importantly, how they're going to impact the team that they're on for the NBA. Like, there's a lot of talented players, but there's a lot of talented players who can't play in the NBA because there are certain things you're going to have, that you're going to have to put together, that you're going to have to make sure that you have in place at your initial start so that you can not just build confidence, which is extremely important, and I'm going to dive into that in a little bit, but so that you can also carve out a role for yourself where your team and your organization believes in you and sticks with you moving forward. The NBA moves so fast when it comes to careers because every single year there's a new crop. There's a new batch of talent, and it gets better and better. And so to fall behind after 1 year, maybe two, and you're not playing at a high level, yeah, there's already somebody who's already taking your place, right? Just look at the Detroit Pistons. They drafted Killian Hayes. They're like, yo, point guard of the future. Boom. Next thing you know, next year, they get the number 1 pick in the draft. Cade Cunningham. You may not be our point guard of the future, right? The year after that, they get Jaden Ivey. Boom. Okay, now you're pushed even further back, right? Then last year, they get who? Marcus Sasser, right? So very quickly, you could become buried in a depth chart. And if you don't have a strong start, well, you kind of stay buried. Well, Chet Holmgren, one of the main things that I was concerned about was his body. There is a certain level of requisite strength that you have to have in order to translate any amount of skill to the NBA. If you don't have it, it will take you a while to really be able to maximize your talent. Look at Brandon Ingram. He struggled immensely early on in his career because he did not have that requisite amount of strength. But once he did, by that third, going into his 4th season, next thing you know, boom, he hits the scene, he becomes an all-star, and the rest is history. But you have other players who come in early after 1 year, and it's a struggle for them. Well, when it comes to the big man front court position, it's even more imperative that you have a certain amount of strength. And Chet Holmgren did not have that coming in out of Gonzaga. And so I said, like, yo, a lot of y'all are going to be disappointed because he's not going to be able to translate in the way that you think. But if you also follow my channel, last summer I said something of significance. Even when he just got injured, I said, this may be a blessing in disguise because he's going to have a full season, not just to recover from the injury, but to get his body strong. And not just to get his body strong, but also to refine his skills. He came in and we knew that he had some ball handling abilities coming in out of Gonzaga, but it takes time to be able to get that skill to an NBA level, right? It's one thing to dribble around guys in college playing at Gonzaga, a major program, and you might have a bunch of games against the guys where the tallest guy is 6'7", and he's 240 pounds and slow-footed, right? So it's a lot easier to dribble around him than it is somebody like Joel Embiid, right? Or Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley, right? Or guys like Jaren Jackson Jr. or Draymond Green, right? It's a completely different level of athleticism, IQ, talent, right? Length that you're going to have to deal with. And so it takes time to refine that skill. His shooting was another thing that we thought that he was going to have as a tool, but it was going to take time. Well, that season off, he was able to refine that as well. And now we see when he's coming to Summer League, he's hitting the ground running. Not only has he been able to refine that skill, a lot of those skills, the shooting, the ball handling, but he's also been able to strengthen his body. Look, Chet Holmgren will never, ever, ever, ever be some big, strong, bulky Joel Embiid, a Nikola Jokic, not even a Vucevic or Jonas Valanciunas, right? He won't. but he can still strengthen his body, his core, his leg strength, right? His back. He can be able to have the requisite amount of strength to translate his skills. And so when he was able to spend an entire season, because remember, he got healed up halfway through his what would have been his rookie year, but Oklahoma City wisely said, you know what? Chill, sit out, develop, get your body strong so you can hit the ground running next year when we really anticipate making a push for the playoffs. And so now the proof is in the pudding that when you give players time to develop, it actually allows them to not just be that much more successful, but it's actually probably enhancing even what his ceiling would have been if he had started last season, right? Last season, he was a player who was coming into the NBA, everything was brand new, right? Just like most rookies come into the NBA and they're figuring everything out from scratch. They're trying to get their housing situated, right? Especially nowadays, these athletes have been playing high level basketball since freshman year of high school. And they've been playing year round, right? They have their high school season, then they go right into AAU. Sometimes AAU overlaps their season. They're going into state tournaments, state championships. They're going into travel teams, playing at the Peach Jam, Nike Hoop Summit. They're going into the Adidas basketball camps. They're going to all these different spaces nonstop all year. They're going nonstop for 4 or 5 years straight before they get into the NBA. Then they go into the player development, they get into summer league, and then they start their rookie year. They're gassed. Not only that, but they're now having to transition again, going from high school, living with your parents, to then college, living on your own, but still in a dorm, and a lot of things are controlled and limited. And then all of a sudden you're in the NBA with 30-something-year-old grown men who got families and kids. All those transitions add to the layers of what their mind has to figure out. Well, Chet Holmgren got to spend a year figuring all those things out while not also having to carry figuring out your defensive and offensive schemes, right? And also having to read scouting reports and travel on the plane and play 82-game seasons, right? Plus the play-in, right? He's not having to do all these different things that add to the stress. And when I say stress, it's not always a negative thing, but it's just added stress to have to figure out all those things as a rookie. So when he's coming into this season, his housing is straight. He's been there for a year, right? He knows his routine in terms of getting treatment, getting to the practice court, working on his game. And all he has to focus on this year is hooping. And this man has hooped. Look, give the man his flowers. He is playing at a level that is probably, I'm not saying it's above where I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to be a 7'1" Andre Kirilenko. And if we're honest, I think that's exactly what he is. He's a 7'1" Andre Kirilenko. Remember, people who don't remember Andre Kirilenko, he was a 6'9" forward for the Utah Jazz back when they had Carlos Boozer, Darren Williams. They were making those deep playoff runs, right? He was a player who was extremely versatile, athletic, but he was wiry. Had that Euro international style, but he was a menace on defense. He had a long wingspan at 6'9". He can guard multiple positions. He always racked up a whole bunch of blocks and a whole bunch of steals. He got assists. He ran the court in transition. He could score moving off the ball. He was extremely effective. And what's interesting is if you had Andre Kirilenko drafted today, he might be a number 1 draft pick because the level of physicality has diminished that allows for somebody of a slight build to be more effective. But the game has also transitioned a lot more since those days. Now it's far less centered around an elite talent who can break down defenses off the dribble, like a Darren Williams, or running pick and rolls nonstop. And now teams are running read and react, right? Which is a style of basketball that is predicated upon anticipation and reacting in real time to what you're seeing around you in terms of the defense and what your teammates are doing around you. That is pretty much exactly the foundation of international ball, is being able to react with a high level of IQ and to be able to apply your talent to be able to win for what the team's scheme is. Now, when you think about a 7'1" version, that is absolutely scary. And that is what Chet Holmgren has become. Scary. Scary. Look, this dude just had 7 blocks against the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't care who you're playing. 7 blocks in the NBA is incredible. These are like Dikembe Mutombo type of statistics when it comes to blocks. But at the same time, he's hitting threes and knocking them down with regularity. Like, there's something to be said about not just being talented and having time to prepare, but also to be able to land in an amazing position. One of my last videos on Chet Holmgren that I did over the summer, I said he was my front runner for Rookie of the Year. And, I hate to say I told you so, but sometimes I love to say I told you so. I told you so. Because of the preparation and time off that he's had to refine his game, he's coming in far more mature than every other rookie. And it's something I kind of believed for a while that, look, if you're here for a year and you missed your rookie season, you missed your rookie season. It's okay. But you don't get to call yourself a rookie just because it's your first year playing. You're not having the same experience as all the other rookies in terms of learning and figuring everything out. But I digress. He's still the front runner for the Rookie of the Year. Now, something I do want to point out is, does it mean that he's better than somebody like Victor Wembanyama? Hell no. Victor Wembanyama is so much better, but it doesn't mean that Chet Holmgren is not a beast. And this boy is a beast. He is extremely skilled, talented, and he's in an amazing position on the team that he's on. Because with all those playmakers, with all those guys who are high-level scorers, it puts Chet Holmgren in a position where all he has to do is just finish off the play on the offensive end. And he gets to play to his strengths on the defensive end. Now, when I say finish off the play offensively, that means he's scoring off of dump-offs, kickouts, running pick and roll and popping on the outside or rolling to the basket and getting a great assist where he could just catch and dunk. So the majority of his points are being manufactured by extremely talented teammates who draw the majority attention of the defense, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Josh Giddey, who's an amazing facilitator, right? They got guys like, what's his name? Williams, Jalen Williams, or you got a LeGuins Dort, right? Isaiah Joe. We got all these scorers around him that make the game easy for him. And he has maximized every bit of the opportunity he's been given. Right now, he's my Rookie of the Year. And I think he's got an incredibly bright future because unlike somebody like Anthony Davis, right, who's kind of a similar comparison. But the difference is that when Anthony Davis came in as a wiry, thin forward at 6'10", right, all the great tools that you could want, he had to start playing at a high level immediately. His team needed him. He was athletic. He was the number one pick. And his body was not ready. And I believe as a result, somebody who's, studied kinesiology and been in athletic training and a personal trainer, all this stuff, I recognize that when your body is not physically ready for a demand and you put too much stress on it, it begins to break down. And then the body begins to break down trying to compensate for the areas that are breaking down. And so you get these compound injuries. And I think that that's been probably the foundation of what has kind of limited much of his career. I think if he had a rookie year off to just get his body in shape and get it strong and ready to go, he would have came in that second year as a, frosh, NBA player. And I think he would have blown us all away. But I digress. Chet Holmgren is a beast. And I want to give him his flowers because I was hating a little bit, but he has far superseded a lot of my projections initially because his context has changed. But with that, I want to know what you all think. Holler at me in the comment section if you enjoyed the video. I want to know what your thoughts are. What do you think his outcome is? Is he your Rookie of the Year? Because your man Jaime Jaquez is doing his thing in Miami. But holler at me in the comment section. We're going to chop it up there. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'm going to get at y'all next time. Peace.